What is going on, guys? Welcome back into another video. Now, it's no secret that the Contraverse build has been one of the most popular builds inside of Destiny 2 for most players. And with some of the unique changes that came within LightFall, with the ability to make more orbs than ever, and a little known buff to vortex grenades, this build really makes a ton of sense to run during Season of Defiance. Now, in this video, I'm going to be showing you why this build is still one of the best builds you can use in the game right now, and also showing off some weapons, fragments, and mods that synergize with this really well to take it to the next level. Now, before we get into it, if you guys are enjoying the content on the channel, feel free to hit that thumbs up and sub to the channel. It definitely helps me out, and I really appreciate all of your support. Now, to start things off, we are going to be using the Nova Bomb Vortex for our super, so we can get that continued damage over time. And we're also going to be pairing that up with a healing rift so we can heal on demand, and burst glide for our jump. Moving over to our melee, we're going to be using Pocket Singularity, which allows us to launch an unstable ball of void energy that detonates when it's near a target, pushing them away from the blast and making them volatile. And we're going to be pairing that up with what is the bread and butter of this build, the Vortex Grenade, which is a grenade that creates a vortex that pulls targets inward and continually damages those trapped inside. Now, again, this grenade did receive a 20% buff inside of PvE with the launch of LightFall, so it's honestly way better than it has been over the last couple seasons. Now, moving over to our aspects, the first one we're going to be rolling with is Chaos Accelerant, which is going to allow us to overcharge our Vortex Grenade, increasing the size of it and the linger duration of the Vortex. And we're going to be pairing that up with Feed the Void, which allows us to defeat a target with a Void ability to activate Devour. While Devour is active, Final Blows restore health and extend Devour. Now, this is going to play a big part in this build because it really leans into our survivability. With the amount of grenade kills that we're going to be getting, we should be proccing Devour non-stop. Now, moving over to our fragments, the first one we're going to be using is Echo of Expulsion, which is Void ability Final Blows cause targets to explode. This also gives us a +10 bump to our intellect. The next one is going to be Echo of Persistence, which void buffs applied to you have increased duration. This does have a -10 to recovery, but this is huge because it's going to take our Devour from 10 seconds all the way up to 15 seconds. And the last one we're using is going to be Echo of Undermining, which allows our void grenades to weaken targets. Now, this does have a -20 to discipline as well. Now, before we go over to the armor section, I want to look into the artifact and show you some perks that you need to be rolling to make this build really good. The first perk I'm going to recommend is Volatile Flow, which allows you to pick up an orb of power, and it's going to grant your void weapons volatile rounds. Now, this is a huge benefit, especially against barrier champions. Remember, this will stun a barrier champion if you have volatile rounds in your weapons, and it also is great for just general ad clear. The next one you're going to want to be rolling is Bricks from Beyond, which allows you to defeat a powerful combatant with a void weapon, and it's going to have a chance to generate heavy ammo for you and your teammates. Now, I've been using this perk over the last few weeks, and honestly, if you're running 2 void weapons and constantly getting kills with them, you're going to get a ton of heavy ammo. I honestly get more kills with my LMG than I do my primary weapon because heavy drops non-stop. And the last one I'm going to recommend off the perks is going to be Void Weapon Channeling, which allows you to gain a temporary bonus to void weapon damage after you defeat a target with a void weapon while at least one of your void abilities is fully charged. This damage bonus increases based on the number of fully charged void abilities you have. Now, moving over to the armor side of the build, the biggest thing that we're trying to do here, as with most builds this season, is to generate a ton of orbs of power. And we're also going to be using some mods that will give us the ability to constantly spam our grenade, giving us more orbs and the ability to supercharge our weapons and really play into volatile rounds as much as possible. Now, to start off on our helmet, I'm going to be running a double Ashes to Assets mod, which allows you to gain bonus super energy on grenade kills. Now, this is going to allow us to get our super back super quick, being that we're constantly going to be spamming grenades at enemies and getting kills non-stop. And we're going to be pairing that up with a Void Siphon mod, which allows our rapid void weapon Final Blows to create an orb of power. Now, moving over to our gauntlets and our exotic of choice for this build, which is the Contraverse Holds. Now, these gauntlets do have the armor perk Chaotic Exchanger, which allow you to resist incoming damage while you're charging your Void Grenade. Charged Void Grenades return grenade energy on a hit. Now, basically the way these work is that while you're charging that Void Grenade, you're going to gain a 20% damage resistance, which is really nice when you're trying to throw your grenade at a target. But what makes this one of the best exotics in the game is the ability to get your grenade energy back super fast simply by hitting enemies with a charged grenade. While Chaotic Exchanger is active, you gain a 2000% bump to your grenade regen for 1.75 seconds. And because we were able to use some of the fragments that we're using in this build, we can actually activate Chaotic Exchanger twice with only one grenade because the cooldown of this perk is only 4 seconds. Now, in terms of mods, we're going to be running the Firepower mod, which allows your grenade final blows to create orbs of power. And we're going to be stacking that with a double grenade kickstart, which is when your grenade energy is fully expended, you gain grenade energy. Additionally, your armor charge is consumed and you gain additional grenade energy for each stack. Now, moving over to our chest, the first one I'm going to be using is the Charged Up mod, which increases the maximum number of stacks of armor charge you can carry by 1. Now, I'm pairing that up with a Void Reserves mod, which increases the amount of ammo you can carry for your Void weapons. Now, this mod is not completely necessary, so if you want to put some damage resistance mods on here, you can definitely do that. Now, on my legs, I'm running a double Innervation mod, which reduces grenade cooldown each time you pick up an orb of power. And I'm pairing that up with a Stacks on Stacks mod, which picking up an orb of power grants you 1 additional stack of armor charge. So basically what that means is that every time you pick up an orb of power, instead of 1 armor charge, you're going to be getting 2. And on my bond, I'm going to be running a double bomber mod, which reduces your grenade cooldown when using your class ability. And we're pairing that up with a Reaper mod, which is after using your class ability, your next weapon final blow spawns an orb of power. Now, just a few recommendations with this setup. I would definitely try to get double 100 resilience and discipline if you possibly can. I think that discipline is the big one to really focus on here, but obviously having that 100 resilience is huge as well. Also, I want to make sure that you guys are using your abilities in the correct order so you can take advantage of this build in this setup. Really, the way to set this up the correct way is to overcharge your grenade and throw it at the enemies you're trying to take out, and then drop your rift right afterwards so you're taking advantage of the double bomber mods that we put on our bond. If you do it in reverse order, if you're dropping that rift first, you're really losing out on a massive bump to your grenade energy, and you're not going to be getting as many grenades back to kill enemies with. Now, moving over to my weapons of choice for this build, there's a lot of flexibility here, but I've been having a ton of fun with Wave Splitter. Now, I know that we just covered this weapon in a video just a couple days ago, but this is amazing, especially with the amount of orbs that we're generating with this build. Remember, every time we pick up an orb of power, it's going to grant us Supercharged Battery, which is going to grant us a period of maximum power that starts with an automatic reload, so you never have to reload the weapon, and Sustained Fire in this mode also suppresses targets. And with some of the armor perks that we're using that go along with Void weapons this season, that's going to give this weapon volatile rounds and the ability to suppress targets, which means you can take out barrier champions and overload champions in in-game activities. And I've been pairing this up with a Commemoration, which is a Void LMG that drops from the DSC raid, and honestly, this thing has been absolutely slapping champions in Legendary Lost sectors. Now, as I said before, that these weapons are really flexible, so you guys can definitely use something a little bit different that maybe fit your playstyle or situation you're in a little bit better, but there are a ton of great Void weapons to really choose from. Now, I think weapons like Hollow Denial and Unforgiven, which have the ability to drop with the perk Repulsor Brace, which will give you an overshield, could be a really good fit with this build as well. Now, you also have the OG Funnel Web and other exotics like Ruinous Effigy and the new Deterministic Chaos, which have a ton of potential with some of these perks and mods too. And with that being said, it's great to see the Contraverse build back and potentially more powerful than ever. I do think with some of the most recent buffs and the ability to get all of these orbs of power generated really on demand, it takes this build to a whole new level, and I think you guys are going to have a blast using it. Now, before I wrap up, if you guys have any questions, comments, or suggestions that really make this build better, or some new weapons that you'd like to see me try in the future, feel free to leave those in the comments below. I love to hear what you guys are using, and I appreciate all of your guys' feedback. Guys, thanks again for stopping in and checking out this video. I really hope this build helps you guys out this season, and I will plan on seeing you all in the next video.